What's up, guys? It's the middle of August. We are just outside of Alamosa, Colorado, and today we're going to be hiking Little Bear Peak. For a full hike review of Little Bear Peak, you can check the link below. Yeah, so really excited to be here today. This is one that's been on the list for quite some time, but for a number of factors just had to keep delaying it. So hopefully everything holds up. The plan is to hike up the remainder of Lake Como Road. We're about, 2 miles in right now, and then camp at Lake Como and then head up in the morning for the early summit attempt of Little Bear Peak. Just below 9,500 feet, looking back down into this awesome valley here. So to give you an idea of what the road looks like, it's just like a lot of baby heads, which are like these kind of rocks. It's much worse at the beginning, and then it turns to this. We weren't really sure what to expect, so we parked lower. As you can see, we're at, well, you can't see, but we're at like 10,000 feet. This is where the road kind of switches back here and gets a bit more rough. About 3 miles from the lake, you'll see this little area right here. It's the last real pull-off you have with multiple space to park, and maybe fit about, 7-8 cars in there if you fit them well. So not a ton of space, but if you are able to get past 10,000 feet, this is like 10-1, and that's where this thing is. Right around 10-4, and if you think you're driving smooth, it'll hit stuff like this. This is definitely need like a modified vehicle, like rib there. You can see Nick, to put in perspective how big that is, probably 3.5 feet tall. Overall, this road has been like pretty comparable to what I'm used to with approach roads. Look down to Alamosa, so we've kind of just worked our way up this and then back down. First real solid look at Little Bear. One thing I will say about this approach, it is like just permanent elevation. Not a lot of flats, almost no downhills. So your legs are constantly pumped. But it really reminds me a lot of the Kit Carson approach. Very, very similar, because you're starting basically down in the plains and working your way up here to high alpine. This area can get really, really buggy in July and beginning of August, so pack accordingly. A little over 5 miles in the hike, and we can see a great view of the Little Bear Blanco Traverse, which is this right here. Of course, Little Bear Peak and the ridge you take to get up it. So you do come from the other side through here and then work around, and then you go over, take the Hourglass up to the ridge to the summit. So it is a pretty short hike from the lake, about 3 miles round trip, but you have a ton of elevation gain. And I've discovered that the mosquitoes that I thought were pretty much gone are definitely not gone yet. All right, here we are at Lake Como. Very pretty. A lot of people here though. All right, so this will be the last footage from today, and then I'll check in tomorrow. But basically, in the morning, we're gonna take the trail. It's gonna wrap around the lake at the gully here you want to take to get up to the southwest ridge of Little Bear. Hopefully we'll be working our way right around there once we get light. So yeah, obviously this is a good place to camp. Definitely expect a good amount of people up here though, but very pretty, very, very pretty. Good morning from the slopes of Little Bear Peak. So what I showed you yesterday is what we're working up now. It's the initial basically climb from the lake. It's a bit of a rock field. There's a bunch of loose rock, so be careful of that. And then once you kind of round this hump here, which I would show you, but that's pointless, you're just going to basically go straight up the gully. We're nearing the top of the ridge, and what we're looking at here is a bunch of really loose rock and gravel. So this is why it's really key, not only in the Hourglass, but here to get a super early start, because it's just the two of us and one party behind us right now, but so we can kind of manage rockfall. But this shit, everything here is loose, like big stuff, small stuff. So just obviously shout out anything that goes sending, and be really, really careful with your footing here. Basically up the gully now, we found that the right side worked out pretty well for us in terms of solidity of the rock, but really everything is pretty shitty. Definitely assume that everything's loose, and if you find stuff that's not, great, but really don't sell out on any of your holds. And as I said before, selling out means just like putting all your weight on something. Once you're at the top of this ridge, I wish I could show you where you go next, but basically you're going to bang a left, and from there you're going to skirt across a pretty big traverse, and then you'll basically be at the start of the Hourglass. One of the reasons that you want to get an early start on this is obviously weather, and it takes a while, but it's also, like I said earlier, it's just a ton of rockfall, and you really do not want to be in the Hourglass with like a ton of other people. So we have a nice little party right now, 3, Nick, myself, and this other hiker. So it's pretty perfect because we can either decide to go up together or give each other space and let people go. The Sangres are probably one of the most unique mountains here, just because down here, plains, and then it just jets up out of the ground. But anyway, looking back now, so this is generally your route around the corner and to that gully I showed you. So we're getting close to the Hourglass, and the sun is bright enough so we can see, bright enough so you guys can see, so really good timing. And so far, just the 3 of us up here, pretty secluded. Kind of have to poop, which is not great. Not a great spot to have that to happen. But in my my contact, it's like half in my eye, this one. So I got 1.5 contacts right now, basically. But I did the Maroon Bells traverse with 1, so it should be okay. Once you've traversed basically all the way across, you're gonna wanna gain this bit right here, and the Hourglass is in there. Here we go, start of the Hourglass. You can see Nick right there working his way up. So quick rundown of the Hourglass. Basically the middle is the least amount of technical, so class 4. If you want to work the sides, this side is low class 5. I highly recommend that you try to get to this when there's no one else in front of you, because it's really notorious for having rocks come down whether there's people or not. So just be super careful, call out rocks here. There is a rope that I'll show you in a bit, and we can talk about that once we're there. And up we go. So the one issue with this Hourglass, so you can see a little remnants of it here, is it can get wet. So the later you come in the year, the more dry it will be, which is good. But you can see like even half, maybe not even half, quarter of the way up here, the rope, and the middle of the route here just sits in water. So when you're coming here in the spring and you think, you know, everything else is melted out, there's a good chance that the Hourglass will still have snow in it and ice in it because it's so protected from the sun. These are the ropes that run up and down the Hourglass. There's 3 of them. This one looks like it's the oldest, somewhat newer, definitely newest. Okay, so with these ropes, definitely do not rely on them. Do not like pull on them. Do not put all your body weight on them. We can test them when we're at the top. And even if they're good for us right now, someone an hour behind us, you know, an animal could come along and chew them. These are really here. I don't even know why they're not officially here from like the trail, the Forest Service or anything like that. There's people who put them in. I honestly think that one of the reasons is that the Hourglass can get really wet, and so it's nice to have this as like when you're down climbing. But again, you don't want to put all your weight on this when you're down climbing, because if the thing breaks, I mean, look at the shape of it. That's just right here. I mean, you would just fall backwards down. And frankly, this is class 4, so you really shouldn't need it to down climb anyway. In a pinch, if you feel like you're losing your balance, like obviously, yeah, grab it. But again, it's not something you should rely on. Looking down and looking up. I mean, look at this. That's the core of the rope with pieces coming undone.
Well, this one's knotted wrong. So this should be up here.
Altogether, pretty solid rope, as we're discovering. But yeah, you top out, I mean, literally right there. So I respect you, little bear. And I'm sure the down climb of this is probably not fun, but I think the Hourglass is a bit of a hype beast so far. Now, obviously, don't take it lightly, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't think it's something that if you're comfortable on class 3, 4 stuff, like, you'll be good to go. See Nick working his way up, careful with his hands and feet. Once you get to the anchor here, you can go either way out. You eventually want to just get up to the other side there. Here's another look down the Hourglass. The anchor is right there. And we were just saying that like down climbing this would definitely not be super fun. Today we're going to traverse over to Blanca on the ridge, a little Bear Blanca traverse, so we're not going to down climb this, but I can definitely see how, especially when there's people coming up, how this would be sketchy down climbing it. And the wet rock, like obviously on the way up you can avoid it, but on the way down you might step in it by accident. Okay, so once you leave the Hourglass, you're gonna want to kind of traverse this way. This is where it's super freaking dangerous for anybody in the Hourglass, because you can see all this loose rock, and when it goes, it just shoots down there like a rocket ship. So just yell anything that you send flying. And again, why you really want to be like the first group to hit this, because it's just super dangerous. The technical skill of the Hourglass, at least climbing up, was not super bad, pretty straightforward, but the rock fall danger, holy crap, that is not exaggerated. All right, so this is what you want to aim for. The rock down there, terrible garbage. The rock here, much better. And you have a nice little chimney you can take all the way up. It looks pretty protected, and the rock appears to be really solid too. Onwards. There are some cairns as you get closer to the top here. And yeah, it looks like the summit's right there. So once you're, let's look back here, give you a quick rundown. So more or less, that was our route. But really, like anything in here, just be so careful with the rock. It's super, super sketchy. And just kind of find lines that have, you know, the most solid rock for you and your comfort level. But yeah, the Hourglass, again, down climbing it, probably not a great time. But the danger in it, in my opinion, is all of this rock from up here that people from above you or just animals or whatever can send down. Summit of Little Bear Peak, 57 down, 1 left, Long's Peak. But yeah, so everything I said about the way up is basically it stays true. The rock after the Hourglass, super loose. It doesn't get any solid. There's sections that are okay, sections that are not great, but it's just super, super sketchy. From where we parked, about 7.6 miles from car to here, and yeah, from where we camped about 2.5. So yeah, overall, definitely a couple notes. Do not bring dogs on this hike. That would be a stupid, stupid, stupid idea. Don't do that. In terms of extra gear, you really don't need that much. Just maybe, not maybe, definitely a helmet, and then maybe hiking poles if that's your thing. Yeah, that wraps up part 1 of this video, which is Little Bear Peak. For a full hike review of Little Bear Peak, you can check the link below. Thanks for watching. Give you some quick whirl around views and maybe pepper in some drone footage as well. As always, please subscribe not to miss any future hike reviews. And for part 2 of this video, which is the Little Bear Blanca Traverse, I'll have a link for that below as well.